Join us on this week's Towncast Pembroke Dock, where we'll be having a look back at what Woolies used to look like in the town centre. We'll be having a look forward into the days when we can get out of the Tesco car park inside an hour. All of that and a whole load more on this week's Towncast. Let's do it.
Get strong.
Welcome back to this week's Towncast Pembroke Dock with me, Lee G. Thank you for your time and attention. Some fantastic feedback and comments on last week. So yeah, massive thank you to you all on that. So we're going to continue with the whole memory thing. I remember when, and wouldn't it be nice, and those kind of things as well. So yes, before we do them, we're going to do the usual stuff. So in news this week, not really much news really going around. A couple of things really to remember. So there is a heavy loads notice about to come in. It's a start of November. It comes in, but a couple of weeks' notice. So there will be a little bit of extra delays across kind of Route 9 London Road, out to the roundabout and then up to the bridge. It's quite a long period of time, but it starts in start of November. So just be patient. Just be patient on that one. And speaking of patience, the traffic lights have, let's say, as we thought they would, they've moved out towards the ambulance station. And original notice said from the roundabout towards the ambulance station. They call it London Road. Do you call that London Road? If that's London Road, where does London Road stop? Calgetty? It just, yeah, it seems a bit bizarre to call that London Road. Um, but to me, that's just the A477. That's the road out of town. Anyway, the traffic lights have moved a little bit further across there. So they're kind of, I think the annoying bit is if you're trying to get in and out of the Kingswood trading estate, because that entrance and exit isn't traffic light controlled. So you kind of have to wait and guess which way traffic is coming. So that's the only real issue at the minute. Other than that, it's moving a lot quicker. Delays are a lot less on that, which is good news. And if you think about, if you think about the two bits of traffic news there, makes sense to have all of the delays and traffic out of the way on the roundabout before these big heavy loads come through. So maybe, I don't know, maybe that might be what it is. I did see, and literally just on the sky, maybe somebody can help me with this one, a floating crane down in the dockyard, like a big, hefty floating crane. So maybe that's in place, ready to help with the heavy loads notice, or maybe it's something else. Message me, let me know. Be more than happy to hear from you on that. Okay, so let's have a look at a couple of events. So you can see I've been playing around with events and Canva and slideshows. So yeah, obviously there's loads more stuff coming out for Halloween. I started seeing Christmas events as well. Started seeing Christmas, so the Boxing Day stuff at the Dolphin and Christmas tea and things like that. So obviously, as we head towards that part of the year, we will do a bit more on those. But we might do like an early book now kind of Christmas thing coming up as well. But we will also add to the Halloween list, which I've still got to put on our social media, but I will do it this week. I say this is why I need somebody with me just to nag me to say, do this, Lee. But I will upload the slides from last week as well. Okay, so what have we got coming up with the weeks coming ahead? So Friday, 24th of October, Pembrokeshire Pride are in the Warrior Room in the Pater Hall. So we've got a list of future events there. So we've got October, December, January, and March, every other month. There is another one as well, which didn't have a date. It was like a games night and stuff like that, but it didn't actually have a time and a date on. So these are all on the Pater Hall Facebook page. So if this is your kind of thing, then that's where you need to be on that. So again, this looks a little wordy, but this is a really important notice from VC Gallery. So VC Gallery, which is in the old school on the North Road, Britannia Road. What's it called? St Mary's? I wanted to say St Mary's. I'm probably wrong, but there we go. So starting a new program from this Monday, 10:30 till midday at the gallery. Um, really helping veterans with recovery and things like that. So if that is your thing, then these are the guys to go and have a chat with. Again, this is on the Facebook page as well as this. This is how this all kind of sits into the week. So that should be 10:30 there, but this is kind of like a standard one. So loads of stuff going on at the VC Gallery. This is aimed primarily at veterans, but I'm sure if you went and had a chat and just said, look, I quite fancy the gardening club, I quite fancy photography. Would you mind? Can I come on the well-being walk, etc., etc.? I'm sure that there's room there for others, but this is primarily aimed at veterans and veterans' families. So if any of this applies to you, then again, this is on their Facebook page and on their website there. That's their full list of the week ahead. Moving on then. So this is Saturday night, Saturday, October 25th, which I think is Gordon Bennett. What date are we on? I guess a week this Saturday. Charity curry and quiz night. Nado Forever 11 and Paul Sartori. That will be at Penna Hall, £10 per person. Bring your own bottle. That's just asking for trouble, if you ask me. But that's going to be a cracking night. It's in Ada Forever 11 and Paul Sartori at the Penna Hall. So yeah, get yourself down to that one. So a few businessy type of things again. So I've mentioned this one in the past. This is this Monday now. So this is Gordon, but I'm gonna have to check the date. What is the date? So date on Monday is going to be 13th. Oh, there we go. Yeah. So October 13th, 6 to 7:30. This is free. Turn up. This will be great. If you're an entrepreneur, if you're a business owner, if you're any of those things, or if you just got a fascination with it, you think this is the direction that you want to head. You might be young, you might be kind of thinking, yeah, I want to run my own business. How can I run it better? What can I do? This is the place to be on Monday night. So you can scan the QR code there for a bit more information. Angus is a web designer, digital marketer, an all-round nice bloke. Don't tell him I said that though, because he'll get big-headed. He'll get big-headed. But yeah, genuinely a really nice guy. Got a lot of time for lots of people. So if that is your thing, that's the place to be. So a few other business things. These are all based at the Innovation Centre. If you don't know where the Innovation Centre is, head up the big hill towards the bridge. As you get to the roundabout on the top, turn right. Second roundabout, turn right. It's the big building on the left-hand side. We'll have a chat about turning right into there in a minute as well. So this is this week, Wednesday 15th, 10 till 1 at the Innovation Centre, free social media workshop. Now, when I do the events and things like that, and it takes quite a long time to do these preparations for this, because our social media is not set up for people searching for Pembroke Dock. That's how it is. So we kind of, there's a whole load of other stuff there. No matter what level you are, on businesses, whether you're running something on the side, whether you're running a page just for information, whether it's key to your business, whether you've got something, your main business is over here and you don't really, you kind of do social media because you think you have to. This is for you. This will help you massively on that. So I think now there's usually a whatchamacallit, online registration and all of that, free. But go to the Bridge Innovation Centre website, or the social media is probably better. It's easier to navigate. So go to the social media page and have a look on there. If this is something that appeals to you, then that's the place to go. And then finally, is one of this doesn't have a if your business is this or if you are in business or you think that you are in will be in business in the next couple of years and you want to stay in business, this is what you need. You trust me on this, okay? um if you think we're in Pembrokeshire and we're only small and we're not gonna who's gonna want to attack us, they don't care. The people that are running cyber attacks don't care. They will sell out millions and millions of um, fake emails or social media messages and all of this kind of stuff, and they're getting really, really smart. AI technology is making this absolutely imperative that you're a part of this. Okay, if you think that this doesn't apply to you, trust me, you are wrong. Even if you go to this and you go, do you know what? I'm right. I've got all of this done and dusted. I'm okay. Then you've got peace of mind and you can carry on. But if you know someone in business, this is absolutely for them. So it's a free workshop on the 18th of November. It's at 10 a.m. in the Innovation Centre. I am going to mention this over the next couple of weeks until we get to the 18th of November. It is really, really important for local businesses, and it doesn't matter who you are in business, whether you're a farmer, whether you're the ferry, whether you're the council, whether this. Trust me, it just takes one. Yeah, there's a saying in inside business that you don't need to be successful all of the time. You just need to be successful once. So if you run a business, it might not work. Then you do another one, you do another one, you start another one, you keep going and you keep going and you keep going until you find the one that works. The same applies for cybersecurity. It just takes one person to get through and you're in trouble. If you followed the Jaguar Land Rover thing, that's allegedly come from just a couple of emails that have come in through the system, locks the system, and a massive international company is sitting there going, "We can't do anything." So this is a really, really good um, session to go on. I would urge all local businesses to go to that. And like I say, I will be talking about that again in the future. Okay, I think that's all of our events done. Let's go and do a little bit of memory lane. Okay, so I remember this week is all about Woolies in the town centre. Now, there's a certain Woolies went pop in 2008, I think. And our store in Pembroke Dock was one of those ones that traded to the very end and went bankrupt at the whole thing went bankrupt at the very end. Um, but it opened in 1939. So, that is an awful lot of memories, an awful lot of time, an awful lot of pick and mix purchased in Woolies. So what I wanted to do is I just wanted to share with you a couple of bits and bobs that I've found on internet. Found it on internet, lad. So Woolies Pembroke Dock was store number 741, 13 to 15 Diamond Street. Um, Opened in Pembroke Dock in 1939 as a purpose-built store. Now that bit, a purpose-built store, I would I would query whether that's right. But yeah, I mean, just having a look at that photo there, it kind of looks familiar. Not much of that has changed from now. The pavements have improved. Because yes, at one point this was a two-way road, and you can see the issues there. Which I remember Diamond Street being a two-way road. It was absolute hell. Oh my lord! The original bit, which we'll probably discuss at some point in future, was for a short period of time they made it pedestrian. And when they made it pedestrian, do you know what? It was lovely. It really was lovely to just go uptown. I promises we didn't do anything with it after that, so that's why it's now one way. But um, yeah, I mean, you can see you got Woolies there, um, jewelers next door. We used to be the jewelers, and chemist on the end here. Lots of you can see you can see which way the sun comes because all of the shops on this side have got um, covers out the front, whereas none of them on this side do. But it's interesting. It's a really interesting old photo on that one. And then we've got this as well. So this is a brilliant site to go on. Pembroke Dock history. So there's a Pembroke one and Pembroke Dock one. The only thing I'd say is it's a hard read. So especially if you're getting a little bit older, and it's literally fact all the way down. So I found this bit here in number 15 in 1851. John Hall, a 60-year-old shipwright and lodger, Solana Williams, lived here. Not sure when Mr. Jim Phillips and a gentleman's outfitters moved on, but we know James Tracy was trading from here as a furnishing ironmongery shop with everything from kitchenware to garden sheds. The shop was demolished in the 30s and rebuilt as a Woolworths store. At the close in 2008, it's gone into liquidation. So maybe that's where the whole purpose-built store came. Was we all know how much Pembroke Dock got hammered in the war. So maybe, well, no, in the 39, yeah, no, it's just pre-war. So no, that wasn't it then. So maybe it was just old. Maybe it's just falling down and it was crap. So they knocked it down and rebuilt a Woolies. And that Woolies was there till 2008, and the building is still there now. But yeah, if town history is your thing, so you can see this is just Diamond Street. We'll do a bit on Diamond Street as well later because somewhere in here must be um about closing it, making it pedestrianised and all of that kind of stuff. But this literally goes from number one down to number 50 and how it kind of changed round and blah blah blah. And there's all sorts of stuff in there. It's really, really good. So well worth a look on there. So for me, so I used Woolies basically through the 80s and 90s. And when I say Woolies, the first bit that comes to my head, and this will be the same for most of you guys, I guess, is records. That was our record store. We used to have um, another music store called the Music Shop, which used to be, first of all, I think it was Lower Merrick Street. It was Lower Merrick Street where Tandy used to. There used to be a Tandy store, electrical bits and bobs, and then the music store went in there, and then they went up to the top of the road, which is a much bigger building where Citizens Advice now is. Um, so that used to be our local independent one. And the good thing with those was that you could get stuff on imports. So I used to get stuff on import from them, so stuff that you wouldn't really know, stuff that wasn't like readily available and stuff like that. And you could order stuff from them. Ordering stuff from Woolies was a nightmare. You could never order stuff from Woolies. But the bit in Woolies was when you were young, you used to get your once you'd had your pocket money and you'd moved past going to Humbers on the corner to get Roy of the Rovers and Tiger comics. Once you'd gone past the comics, and then you kind of went from your football comics and your action comics to buying records. So the first record I remember buying, the first single I remember buying in there was a song called "Bass How Low Can You Go" by Simon Harris, which was a really really good uh, um, old school, what you'd now call house music. So yeah, excellent. That kind of music at the time was cool. And then my first album, I don't even think it was my, it couldn't have been my first album, but I remember buying Bad by Michael Jackson from it. And I remember I was gonna wait until Saturday, but some of my mates had bought it. It must have come out on like a Monday or Tuesday, as albums did back then. And I remember asking my mum to pick me up from rugby training so that I could pick me up here. So normally I used to walk home from rugby training from the school back down to the dock. And I asked my mum, could you come and pick me up this one week, sir, and then stop at Woolies so I could run in and get Bad and listen to it before school the next morning. So yeah, it was. I think that's the kind of memories that I used to have of Woolies. The bit that a lot of people will have was Christmas. Woolies at Christmas was just amazing. Um, yeah, and that was really your kick into Christmas. For me, you'd see the Christmas decorations go up in the window. You'd see a few lights go in. You know, all of a sudden, pick and mix became really, really. I never understood with Woolies why pick and mix was right as you went in. Do you know what I mean? You literally, if you were walking down the hill and you went through the first set of doors, and like they were literally 5 yards in. So if you're a cheeky little kid running in, grabbing an handful and legging it back out was actually really easy. I think they moved it after a while. I think they did move it kind of across more in front of the tilts. But yeah, for me, it was just like that was your key bit. It was going in. And as you walk through the door, you'd be nagging your mum and dad, yeah, can I have a pick and mix? Can I pick and a mix? Um, and it just used to be kind of Christmas time was when you'd have your box of Quality Street, or you'd have your box of. I mean, in the 80s, celebrations didn't exist. It was a massive tin of Quality Street, which you would get from Woolies anyway, but then you'd want to top it up. Then you'd need a top up. You need another bag of pick and mix to chuck in on top of the the Quality Street, just to kind of mix things up a little. So if you had like a favorite, my mum used to love the green triangles. So she'd have a load of green triangles and then dump them in on top. And woe betide anyone that got to green triangles before. If you went in and raided green triangles before my mum got to them, then oof, one of us was in trouble. And it was usually my sister because I'd always grass her up. But it was that I think those are the memories that I used to love in Woolies. That it was it was a family store in the sense that you could go in, you could go in with your mum and your dad, and you'd go off in different directions. Like my sister would go and look at the girls' toys. I'd be looking at the boys' toys. My dad would be looking at, I know, gardening stuff or tools. My mum would be off looking at other bits and bobs, and you'd kind of find yourselves again, and you'd come back together. And it was just a place where there was something for everyone. And yeah, it was a real shame when it went because it was, I don't know, it just felt like a key part of the town centre. As things started drifting out of town, we used to have the hardware store on the corner, we used to have the veg store, maybe we'll do a thing on the whole of Diamond Street. We'll go top to bottom on, what shops do you remember on Diamond Street? Because I remember loads. Say fruit and veg. I remember definitely one Christmas having a strop with my mum because I must have been old enough to carry bags, and so we went to Tallett's for fruit and veg. We went to Dewhurst for meat. We went to Woolies for wrapping paper and cards and a few other presents for family. Yeah, there was loads of, you did your shopping at the clothes co-op the other side of the road. So you'd always get your Christmas pants and socks in there. Um, yeah, there were loads of stuff that we used to get. Um, Unique. You'd go to the town centre and now you just go to Tesco's and you walk around, you stick it all in the trolley and you come out. And it's a real shame that we lost that kind of community hub in there. I remember going there, um, and then my mum would always meet friends, and that was it. Like, there'd be, yak 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 yak. So that's when you'd go to the record desk, and you know, it was at one point they got rid of it. I think it must have been when CDs came in, but at one point you could request them to put, you know, stuff on. Can I listen to this? Can I listen to this? And there was a record player there, or I can't remember if there wasn't a record player. It must have been when the CDs came in. They could put a CD on and it would come out of speakers, and that was really cool because you could listen to a song while your mum was yakking to her mates. Um, but yeah, it was a really good kind of family feel. You always felt safe in there, and there was always something. There was always toys, kids stuff. I remember buying kids stuff in there. As you get older and you have nephews and nieces or cousins, baby cousins, and all of that, and there'd always be, baby clothes in there. I remember them being. I remember being sent uptown once to get pegs, which is a bizarre memory to have. But I knew exactly where they were in Woolies. I have no idea why I knew where the pegs were in Woolies. But I just remember getting really excited because I must have been really young, but being really excited about going uptown on my own. My mum had given me the money, go to Woolies, get some pegs. I must have got a bar of chocolate as well, because that's the sort of thing I would have done and then come home with them. So, yeah, it would be great to get your memories of Woolies, whether you worked there. I know loads of local people that used to work there, but I'm really interested to hear from people if you worked there, pre 80s, 70s, 60s, 50s, or whatever. Or maybe mum and dad did. Maybe you got some, or maybe you got some photos from way back when. It would be really good to see some memories of Woolies, what it meant to you. What was your first record? What was the first record that you bought? If you're, I don't know, somewhere, if you're below 60 and above 40, so if you're in between 40 and 60, you will have bought, and you were living in Pembroke Dock, you would have bought a record from Woolies. I can pretty much guarantee it. And yeah, it'd be great to know what record you. Do you know what? Yeah, it just this happens. So just random stuff hits my head. I bought the 12-inch single of Bit in Image, oh, the chicken in the air for my mum's birthday, and she was absolutely crazy. But yeah, and I've still got that in my record collection somewhere as well. So, yeah, what were the records that you used to buy from there? What was the thing you used to go to Woolies for? Was it the pick and mix? Was it the Christmas decorations, birthday cards? Yeah, they used to have a massive card display, didn't they? They had a massive card display. What did you used to go to Woolies for? What was your thing in Woolies? Share your memories with us on social. I'll put the post up as per usual, but let us know what Woolies meant to you, um, on all the memories that you've got from Woolies. Okay, let's move on to a little bit of chatty bit, which again is town centre orientated and as come from social media, and I kind of touched upon it just now, really, to be honest, which was the banks that we used to have in the town centre. Now we don't. Now we don't. We don't have banks in the town centre. I do, and I've said this before, I find it ironic that the people now campaigning to bring back the banks in the town centre are part of the political party that actively tried to get rid of them. So that kind of amuses me as well. But so yeah, so we used to have in Pembroke Dock. So let me think. So if you start from the far end of uh, Diamond Street, Diamond Street or Dimmond Street, another conversation to have on there. Start at Star Corner. So on the right, you used to have Britannia Building Society. Then you had Lloyd's, a couple of doors down. Then you'd walk down at the bottom end. Now, oh, and you had HSBC as well, didn't you? You had Lloyd's, HSBC, then Lloyd's. I think that's how they used to go. And then you get down to the bottom. You get down to the bottom. So you obviously had the post office on your left-hand side. You get to the bottom, you have Barclays on the right-hand side at the very bottom corner, opposite what used to be WH Smith. You used to go and go up Merritt Street, and then you'd have NatWest. NatWest Bank was probably the biggest one. It was massive on your right-hand side, and that was where the dog groomers used to be. Um, there must have been a couple of small um, other ones, a couple of small building societies along there as well, because I think Santander took over Britannia and then pulled out, quite quick. I might be wrong on that one, but it's worth going back on that one. So anyway, the point is, we're kind of moving towards a cashless society anyway, whether we like it or not. I make most of my purchases now on my phone. Um, we've got a smartwatch, so don't even use the card anymore. I had to use my card. Uh, where were we? We were ironically we were away. We were on holiday, and we went into a shop that didn't have tappy machine. So you had to put your card in. It was an old style pin machine, an old style pin machine. So even card payments have moved. We probably moved beyond card payments now to um just that tap and go kind of payment. And I said on last week's where I went to Narberth Food Festival, which is all just independent stands. Every single one of them had a tappy card thing, and away we go. So I don't think it's a business-led issue in the sense that most businesses will have them. I think the issue with businesses is that businesses have to pay for it, and some of the fees that these card um, companies charge is ridiculous. You talk about 6, 10, 15% to process your card payment, and that comes straight out of their profit. Which is why if you have the opportunity to pay in cash, then paying in cash is always a good thing. It's particularly in a local business, in a small local business. If you can pay in cash, then do, because it does make a massive difference. It means they get 100% of the profit on that, not 80% of it, not 90% of it, 100% of whatever that profit is. And they're not massive profit margins, but whatever that profit is, all goes to that local business. And when you buy local businesses, it stays in the local economy, it goes around the local economy, it doesn't go off anywhere else. So yeah, I digress. So it's not so much a business led thing. Most businesses now, I'd say, have a P card thing, and those that don't kind of have other ways around it. So my dog groomer just takes digital payments, so I just send them the payment, bank transfer sort of thing, which again, 99% of us will be able to do. And they're quite upfront about it. They say, look, this is how I take payments. Are you okay with that? Yes, bump, and they're full. So, that is just there's enough of us around that are able to do that to keep that person in business and to fill their business for them. So it's very much a consumer issue, if you like. Um, having I, I, I see why people are worried about information and sharing their information. If you pay with something, then there's a digital record of your information. Um, yes, there is, but I don't unless you're doing something dodgy. It's not an issue. The amount of transactions that go through a particular place, wherever it is, it's actually quite difficult to find. Yeah, so I've run retail businesses in the past. I've done fraud investigations. I'm going to say I've been manager for big national companies. I've done fraud investigations, and you have to sit there and trawl through, you know, what was so somebody made a purchase on your card on Saturday afternoon at 3:15. What was it, right? And you have to go back through, do the searches. I'm guessing it would be better now. But when I did it, you literally have to, you get a list of the transactions. They're all anonymous. It's just a card number. You don't even get the whole card number. You get the last four digits. And that's what you work on. The chances of you having two cards with the last four digits is like 1,000,000,000 to 1 or something like that. So, and then you cross check that against the bank that it comes from, and those two are usually enough information to do. So, people that get sensitive around, oh, I don't want to share my digital information, I get some of that. I've just done the thing about the cyber security, but actually, it's to say somebody's going and they know what you're doing. That would only be a case if you gave somebody a reason to look at what you were doing. So unless you're involved in some massive fraud, unless you're money laundering, unless you're a member of a banned organization, um, that would be the times when it becomes an issue. Other than that, you're pretty safe using digital currency. I think the other side of it is older people, and that is where it's very difficult to. So my grandparents have all passed on now, but just trying to explain to my grandparents about using a card and all that. And my nan was if I took my nan shopping to Tesco's, she would go to the cash point outside, take some money out, go in, do the shop, and then pay in cash, rather than just pay. When she got to an age where she couldn't go out so much, my nan was very active right up until a few months before she passed, but explaining to her, she would tell me what she wanted. I would place a Tesco order for her. Her card was saved on my machine, so it would come out of her, and then it would arrive. It would arrive in her house. That kind of she would. There were a couple of times where she would try to pay the delivery man, and then he would have to explain to her, no, there's that. So I think for an older generation, yeah, it can be quite confusing. And it's change. For some people, it is a change. I think what we class as that older generation is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. There are loads of people that most people would class as old or elderly, retired. If you're retired, yeah, let's use that as the benchmark of if you're retired, you're old. God, that's gonna impress a whole load of people, isn't it? But let's use that as your benchmark as a cutoff date. Um, Still loads of people who are retired, quite comfortable using smart technology, because they've tried it, they've been shown how to use it, and they're comfortable with it. So yeah, I think for me the main issue with the lack of banks in the town centre is if you have an issue, being able to talk to somebody about it. Um, and I think that's where it does kind of fall down, where you used to be able to go into your local bank and go, got an issue with this, I've got an issue with that. Where now you have to phone somebody, the chances of you getting through is remote. You've got to put this number in and then this number, and it takes as long as you would have done to walk to the bank to to get through to somebody. But for me, I'll have it on my mobile, and it'll be on my side there as I'll be working away or whatever, and then I'll just pick it up when they pick up and whatever. So there are ways around it, but I get that older people might struggle with some of those ways, but that's our job as a society to help them. You know, if they want to access some of the the stuff that they're entitled to and they should be able to access it, then let's help them. Let's show them how to do it. Let's if you've got a granny, a granddad that's struggling with their phone, show them, work it through there. But it's about repetition. It's about you as a younger person might just pick it up and go, oh yeah, I do this and I do this and I got this app and I got that app. An elderly person might not be as comfortable as you are, so it might take a little bit of time to go through it. So it's one of those things. The banks aren't going to come back to the town centre. Banking hub, which is the political thing at the minute, that the current party that is out there doing a load on social media about this is disgraceful, banks are closed, we need a local banking hub. They were the ones that caused the issue in the first bloody place. So it's a bit hypocritical of them to say that we need a banking hub now. The reality is that, yeah, if we had a banking hub, what that banking hub would look like, how it would work, yeah, there's loads of things that could be good and could be bad with that. But go back to what I said last week about some of the stuff about turning Woolies into a community hub. A banking hub could be part of that building. Who knows? Anyway, yeah, that's my chatty bit for this week. Banks in high streets, they aren't coming back. It would be nice. But if you see somebody struggling with it, then our job as a society is to help those that struggle. The sign of a good society is where there are those people at the lower end are looked after the most. So if you see somebody struggling with access, family, friends, offer to help. That's what you're there for. Okay, let's move on to wouldn't it be nice then? And yeah, let's let's talk. It's again, this isn't planned this way, but it all does kind of flow through. Getting out of Tesco's car park. I'll be honest, we're at the minute with the massive Tesco's refit that's going on. Um, it's not as bad as it used to be because lots of people are shopping elsewhere, and I don't blame them. In all honesty, it is an absolute pain in the jacksie. Yeah, just not. This is going to go on until end of November, so it should be done ready. No, yeah, no, end of October, I think they said October, November. So ready for the Christmas running. But oh my lord, they are, yeah, causing issues. I got two beefs for her. One, the trolley. You used to have a trolley with the bread basket at the front. You could put all your bread in there. It wouldn't crush it. It was fine. It wasn't a problem. It was lovely. Now, the new ones with the wee little put the thing in and the clickety clackety thing hasn't got the bread thing, so your bread just gets squashed and it's a pain in the backside. But let's talk about the car park. So the car park in Tesco, and I mean, we've all been, the worst one that I had was on like a hot, sunny, it was the Saturday before a bank holiday. It was the worst time of day. It's like 1 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon or 2 o'clock. You see a ferry traffic going one way. You literally couldn't get in because all of the traffic couldn't get out and they were blocking spaces to park in. So it was complete gridlock. And I think to get out that day took me over an hour and a half to get out of the car park. It took me 20 minutes to get into the traffic to get out, if that makes sense. So to reverse out of my car space and then into the traffic. Um, People were absolutely living it a couple of years ago now, but yeah, it hasn't really improved. It hasn't really improved. So wouldn't it be nice, yeah, if I think we were promised a third lane in. So you could filter if you were coming across London Road from the Beerspool roundabout, you're coming across, there'd be a filter lane to the left. Um, that hasn't happened yet. But wouldn't it be nice to have an additional exit out of Tesco's? Now, the obvious place is to go down next to what used to be Williams Garage, and is now the Paul Sartori place. It was the bike shop and the outdoor shop, and is now Paul Sartori. Um, would make sense for Tesco's to buy that and just put an exit out of there. So you go left. So yes, you have to go down around the roundabout to come back right. Because if you're trying to go right, it's not going to work coming out of there. But you would then, even if you're just going into Pembroke Dock, if it's just for Pembroke Dock traffic, that would make so much sense. You would lose maybe 4 or 5 parking places at most. You know, Tesco is never under that much pressure, and you would make it so much easier for cars leaving there that actually you would it would people would go, do you know what? I can live with those 3 or 4 spaces not being there because damn, you can actually get out a lot quicker. It would take the pressure off the other side, the one that's here at the minute. And it was the original plan for Tesco's was with the exit for Tesco's. There was going to be a Pembroke Dock exit that would head. It's now the walkway, so you can, if you imagine where Tesco's is, if you're standing at the front and you walk left across the parent and child bays, and you just keep walking down that road there, there's a little path that goes behind the dentist surgery. Used to be Jones and Gas, so it goes behind there, and then it goes out to the back of London Road. The original plan was to make that one way, so you'd go out there, and it would then be one way from London Road. You'd be able to turn down there, and you'd go out down King William Street, what used to be called Gasworks Lane, because that's where the gasworks are. So you go down there, out by Shawhouse Bakery or Brums, and that would be one way all the way around there. That was the original plan. That got binned quickly because it would have meant upgrading doing a lot of roadworks down there. And then there was all sorts of issues between Williams Garage and the Esser Garage, and Mr. Williams knew that if Tesco came, that was pretty much the end of his business, which it was. So, yeah, so not letting them go out by there, I totally get it at the time. He was fighting for his business at the time. Now, that just doesn't make sense not to have it there. So, wouldn't it be nice to just put that one exit just down by the if your Tesco's go and buy the Paul Sartori building and support Paul Sartori there. Make it include if you want to park in the Tesco car park for Paul Sartori, you can. Let's do that. So yeah, let's it would just be nice to be able to get out there. And at the minute, it's not so bad. I know come Christmas, you're going to be sat there for hours and hours and hours. But What's my wouldn't it be nice this week? Wouldn't it be nice to have a little exit coming out of Tesco's, turn left onto London Road, and away we go. So yeah, lovely on that. So that's my wouldn't it be nice this week. So next week on my I remember, we are going to have a look at the old Albion Square School. We're going to discuss those of you that went to, I never went to Albion Square, so we'll do Albion Square and then we'll do Park Infants just to keep everybody happy. We'll do Albion Square next week and then we'll do Park Infants a week after. And then wouldn't it be nice next week? Send me your ideas. Send me ideas for small little bits that'll make a massive difference to Pembroke Dock. And that will be grand. So before we move on to the sport, then I do a little bit of self-promotion, if you will. So please do subscribe to our YouTube channel, like our social media, share some of our social media posts. I'm starting to put up things about I remember, and wouldn't it be nice? It would be lovely if I could, I did the one for the fair, not for the fair. I did the one in Pembroke about petrol stations. I remember 3 petrol stations in Pembroke. Oh my God! By the sounds of it, I think there were about 20 in Pembroke. And it was lovely to get some of your thoughts on conkers and what have you in Pembroke Dock as well. But by all means, do share those and comment on our socials. But most important is to this. It must be down here. It's either down there or down there. Hit the subscribe button. If you're a kid, if you're a little kid, go smash that subscribe. Don't smash it; you'll damage your screen. But yeah, click on subscribe. It makes a massive difference to us. And it helps us to grow. It shares it with lots of other people. What it does is it tells YouTube that you're interested in this channel, so other people in that area might also be interested in this channel. And it just helps us to grow on that. So that would be grand. If you could do that, I'd be very grateful. Also, as always, I'm looking for other presenters and I'm looking for other towns that want to join us. So if you want to come and have a chat, by all means, please do. If you're in another town and you think that this would be great for your town, please do get in touch. For anything, you can message me on ilovetowncast@gmail.com or you can message me on Facebook. Okay, let's go and have a look at some sports news. Okay, rugby first then. Quins had a handsome home win against Crymych Bulls, which is just Crymych seconds on that, 46-24. Yeah, that's a really, really good win for them there. I just want to draw your attention to the score above that. Pembroke against Langham. So Langham put a message out on socials last week about struggling to field a team. They are struggling to field a team. So if you are, might be a young player struggling to break into the firsts, you might just be, I don't fancy all the serious stuff. I just want to play and enjoy it. Langham are the team that probably a tiny, tiny little village, really struggling at the minute. They have got a decent youth system coming through, but that's going to take 5 or 6 years to produce a good first team. And as always with these small teams, soon as a decent player comes through, they're off to Haverfordwest, then Narberth. That's just the way it goes. So yeah, if you are a player of any level or caliber, Langham are looking for players on that. So we'll have a quick look at the league. Then Quins in third, having played 4 games. St David's doing really well. They're in second place on 12 points, and this is where we're going to get the issue. So we got Pontebarum at the top, having played 4 games, and then we got Pembroke having played 2 games. Anyway, that's where we are at the minute with that. So the Quins next week travel out to Tenby seconds. Tenby Seconds are a strong team, but a lot of players from the Quins and Pembroke will have travelled to Tenby to try and earn a buck. So yeah, I think the Quins might have it. I think there was a good win this week. Um, Tenby Athletic took a bit of a pasting against Pontevedra, 62-12. Quins tails are up, Tenby tails are down. It's time to show them some grunt, boys. It's really time to show them some grunt and put them to the sword out there. So best of luck to the Quins in Tenby next week. Okay, this is where we get confusing because we're going to try and look at some football while I gear this up. So I am still trying to get hockey scores. I'm trying to get netball scores. If you know of anyone that can help with that, then please do get in touch. Because, or if you're a bit of a sports fanatic and you just want to come on and do the sports with me, cracking, belting, it would be great to have you on board with that. So, football results then for 11th of October 2025. Carew went down 8-1 at home to Goodwick United. I mean, oh, that is not good at all on that. So, yeah, 8-1 at home. Where does that leave Carew in the table? Unsurprisingly, quite close to the bottom. You can see they're three off the bottom there on 4 points. Only one win so far this season. So there was no game for the Robins this weekend. Um, Fixtures for 18th of October. So Carew travel to Clarbeston Road, hoping to recover a bit of dignity there. And Penna Robins host Narberth this weekend as well on that. Division 2 then. Um, let's have a look in Division 2. Carew reserves not play. Carew reserves are in this table, and this one, aren't they? Yeah, Carew reserves are. Okay, so no games for us to look at in Division 2 there, but fixtures coming up this week. Carew reserves host New Hedges and Saunders Foot on that one there. So that's really all for us to look at in Division 2. Division 3, things get a little bit more interesting. So Division 3, there we go. Penna Robin seconds against Pembroke Borough. That was I mean, that's always you literally walk any away game where you can walk to the ground. It has got a little bit of beef to it. So Robins lost 3-1 at the against the Borough. The Borough can be really pleased. I know it's the Robins seconds, it's Pembroke Borough first, but that's always been a bit of beef between the two of them. So that is yeah, that's a good result for the Borough. Where does that leave everyone in the table? So we got Pembroke Borough in fourth, just below Loreni. If you want to do Loreni scores, so Loreni beat Letterston 2-1 last week as well. I tried to kind of cover that wider area as well. But obviously the Borough and Robins was the game that sparked the interest most. So Borough in fourth, Loreni in third, and then Robins two off the bottom there with Kilgetty propping it up, or Kilgetty seconds, Robins seconds, propping it up there. Okay, on to Division 4. This is where it gets a little bit crazy because I can never remember who is and who isn't. So Angle beat Fishguard 2-0 at home. Hundleton lost 7-4 at home to Milford United. The bit I don't understand with Hunter, second time this season where they've let in quite a few, but they've put a few. If you score 4 goals in a game, you'd expect to come away with a win. If you're putting 4 in the net the other side, you're expecting to come away with a win. But if you're leaking 7, how do you leak 7 and score 4 at the same time? It is a little bit confusing. One for Hundleton to work out there. Manorbier, if you're interested, 3-3 against Prendergast Villa. Where does that leave us? St Florence. St Florence is the other one as well. 6-1 against Neyland. So St Florence top of the table there. Angle in second. That's a good win for Angle because Fishguard in third. And then we come down a little bit. Hundleton are 4 off the bottom. Manorbier are 1 or 2 off the bottom, depending on how you look at it there. Fixtures for 18th of October. Hundleton host Neyland Reserves on that. Manorbier host Solva Reserves. St Florence travel to Newport Tigers. Angle don't have a game. Yeah. Okay. Angle don't have a game there. No props on that. So last one then, Division 5 on that. So Division 5 last week. So Lorraine Reserves lost 3-2 at home to Prendergast Villa. Pembroke Borough Reserves lost 2-1 at home to St Clair's Reserves on that. Okay. Well, let's have a look at the table. Pembroke Borough Reserves in 4th and what else was I looking at? No, Lorraine Reserves. There we go. Lorraine Reserves 4 off the bottom, down the bottom there as well. Fixtures for this week then. Lorraine Reserves host New Hedges and Saundersfoot seconds. Pembroke Borough Reserves host Prendergast Villa seconds on that. So, lovely jubbly. That's it for the sport. I say, if sport is your thing, by all means, and you just want to do the sport, get involved, give me a message, let's get you on, and let's do that. So, that brings us to the end of this week's Towncast. Thank you for your kind messages. I have decided that I'm probably not worth doing this on audio going forward, so just be on YouTube, because a couple of hundred of you listen and watch on YouTube and 3 or 4 of you listen on audio. So apologies if you are one of those 3 or 4. Maybe in the future, as we grow, I can get some more people involved. Maybe we might bring that back. It would be lovely to bring that back, because the audio thing is a good thing. You can listen to it in the car and all of that, but you can now do that with YouTube as well. So yeah, that's just a little bit of an update from me. Thank you for your time this week. I say, any comments, anything that you want us to cover, please do message us on ilovetowncast@gmail.com. Have a fantastic week, and I will see you all next week. And until then, let's make Pembroke Dock proud. All the best. Be strong. Be strong.